the Summit County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you worked there?
Almost 7 years.
What's your assignment at the Summit County Sheriff's Office?
Currently, I'm on patrol with the K-9 unit.
What about in 2022? What was your assignment then?
It was the same assignment.
You were working as a patrol deputy?
Yes, correct.
Before we jump into the case at hand, I want to talk a little bit with you about the chain of command within the police, within the Sheriff's Office. So you mentioned that you're a patrol deputy.
Yes.
And above that, there's a patrol sergeant. Is that correct?
Yes.
There's a lieutenant.
Yes.
There's a captain.
Yes.
And there's also an investigations division.
Correct.
And as a patrol deputy, you went out to the scene on March 4th of 2022.
That's correct.
And that was at the 282 Willow Court home.
Yes.
What were your responsibilities that night?
Primarily would be scene security, but I was also tasked with starting a medical log.
What's a medical log?
It's basically a log of any medication that the decedent would have in their possession. We start the log, and we take all the medication that's there, we log how much is there, we log everything about that medication.
And that was your primary responsibility while you were there?
Correct.
And you completed that log to the best of your ability while you were there?
Yes.
Did you locate medications for Eric Richins?
I did.
Where did you look for those?
I looked for them in the bathroom, which is where I was made aware that they were most likely going to be.
Where did you look in the bathroom?
I looked there on the counter. I think there was a drawer that was mentioned, and then I looked in a cupboard that was above the toilet.
And you were looking for these medications where you were told by Ms. Kouri Richins they might be.
Correct.
And at this point, when you're looking for medications, you were aware that Mr. Richins may have taken a THC gummy.
Yes, I was made aware of that.
And while you were looking for these medications, did you see any THC gummies?
No, I did not.
When you looked in that cupboard above the toilet, did you see any THC gummies?
No, I did not.
How do you know that?
On part of my duties on patrol is typically to look for narcotics, and so I have a lot of training and a lot of experience in locating narcotics such as THC gummies, THC products, or other narcotics and paraphernalia that goes with it.
So you're familiar with what those look like?
Yes, I am.
And if you would have seen them on the night of March 4th, what would you have done?
I would have left them where they were at, and then I would have notified the investigations team when they came in that there were, in fact, narcotics located while inside the house.
And you didn't find any?
No, I did not.
You didn't find any drug paraphernalia?
No,
You didn't find any illicit drugs?
I did not.
Just a moment. Those are all my questions for you. I expect the defense might have some as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, Deputy.
Good morning.
So the night of March 4th, your early morning, March 4th, really, could you tell me what time you arrived at the scene?
I don't recall exactly what time.
All right. Well, let me just see if this refreshes your recollection.
Yes, that seems about right. Yes.
So about what time did you arrive at the scene?
Around 3:30 or 3:50.
3:50. And what time did you leave?
I also don't recall exactly what time I left.
Would it be accurate?
Yes, what's written there would be accurate. It would be based on radio logs, which is when I clear the scene or arrive on scene.
So does 5:09 a.m. sound correct to you?
Yes.
Is that about right?
Yes.
All right. So when you got there, who was already present?
I believe that medical was present. I do not recall if there were any other law enforcement present, but I do recall that they were, medical was on scene.
Okay, medical. So EMTs and...
Yeah, so when I say medical, I mean like EMT and also the fire department. I just view them as the same entity. So I don't know if it was one or the other. I just know that medical personnel were on scene.
All right. And you said your assignment at the scene was security and a medical log.
That's correct.
So all your information about medications, did it come from Ms. Richins, or were there other deputies that told you or repeated to you what Ms. Richins had told them?
Both, yes. So there wasn't, as I recall, there was another deputy who informed me, hey, there might be more medications in the bathroom.
More medications in the bathroom as compared to the bedroom?
I don't recall if the bedroom was mentioned, so I can't give you a firm answer on that.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Where specifically in the home did you look for medications?
I looked in the, to my recollection, I looked in the bathroom.
That's the only room you looked in, was the master bathroom?
Looking for medications, yes, I believe that was the only place I looked for medications.
All right. Now, you started, is it a handwritten log, correct?
Correct.
All right. Let me just have you take a look at this. You recognize this?
Yes.
All right. So that's a list of medications that were found. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that is not all in your handwriting, true?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. So what part of that is in your handwriting?
The first three of them that are in black ink, I believe, are my handwriting.
And are you aware who finished that report?
I do not know, no.
Okay. Let me grab that back from you. Can I just have one moment, Your Honor? Of course. So, Deputy, the first three medications on this list were ones that you found.
Correct.
And what, do you recall what those three medications were, or do I need to have this back?
Yeah, I do not recall the medications.
All right.
Some of them have longer.
Before I
names.
get, I'm sorry, I have a tendency to talk over.
No, I'm sorry.
My mouth goes faster than my brain. Are you aware where the other medications that are in someone else's handwriting, where they were found?
I do not know.
All right. Let me just have you take a quick look at the first three then that you found again.
Okay.
And you said you found those three all in the master bathroom?
To my recollection, yes, I believe it did.
All right. And the first one on that list is naltrexone, correct?
Correct.
And are you aware what that medication is used for?
I am not.
All right. The next one is the hydrocodone, which we've spoken about, correct? That's
Yes,
what the next
yes,
one is
that's
you
the
wrote
next
down.
one. Mhm.
And the third one was, you might have to remind me.
I'll do my best. Doxycycline?
Doxycycline. Okay.
Yes.
Cycline. All right. And you're not aware what that medication's for then?
No.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that then later. All right. So during the time you were there, you only found 3 medications?
To my recollection, yes.
All right. Over that hour and a half?
Yes.
Now, you said that you had a conversation with Ms. Richins, and was it Ms. Richins that told you there were THC gummies, that Mr. Richins had possibly taken a THC gummy?
I believe she did mention that there was THC gummies, yes.
Did you ask her where the gummies were located?
I do not recall if I asked her that question.
All right. Would that be important to know since you were looking for medications to log?
Only if they were prescribed to him would I be looking for them.
Well, didn't you testify that you would also look for illicit drugs?
No, I was not looking for them, but if I had seen them during my time, then I would have made a note of them.
You would have made a note if you'd seen them. However, you were told that he had possibly taken this drug, but you didn't think to ask where that might be located so you could log it?
No.
All right. So where specifically in the master bathroom did you look?
I believe I looked on the counter. If you walk in and then on the left side, there's a counter there. I believe I looked on the counter. I believe there was a mention of one of the drawers had it, and then I also, on the opposite side, above the toilet, there is a cabinet, and I looked in there.
I'm sorry, will you say that last part again?
So on the right side of the bathroom, there's a toilet, and then above the toilet there is a cabinet, and I looked in there.
All right. And now that bathroom is connected to a walk-in closet, correct?
Correct.
So you go into the bathroom and then into the closet.
Yes.
Did you look in the closet?
No, I did not.
And you said you looked in the drawer, and I don't know if I understood you. Someone told you to look in the drawer?
I believe that somebody mentioned that there was a medication, not a medication pill bottle, but it's one of those organizers for pills in the drawer. And I believe that one of the deputies came to me and said that one of those was in the drawers in the bathroom. So that's why I looked in those drawers.
All right. So when you left at approximately 5 in the morning, a little bit after 5, what did you do with that medication log?
So the medication log and the medication that was collected was left in the room on the dresser that was in that room.
You didn't hand it over to the person that was taking over for you?
No, I did not.
All right, you didn't write a report that night, correct?
No,
But you went back and wrote a report in January of 23, correct?
that's correct.
So almost a year later?
Correct.
And what was the purpose of that January of 23 report?
I was asked to write a report for that incident at that time, so I went back and wrote that report.
And was the purpose, well, let me rephrase. In that report, it was a very short report, correct?
Correct.
And it was basically that you left the medication log on the dresser, correct?
It was, yes, to describe my involvement in the case with the medication log, yes.
Why were you asked to do that a year later?
I don't recall why I was asked to do that. I was just asked by my supervisor, so I did it.
And you don't know why they needed that?
I do not know why they needed that, no.
Is it typical that you wouldn't write a report about what you did with the medication log at the time?
It depends on the involvement, the overall involvement that I have in a case. If my involvement is just a medical log where what I had done is logged on a medical log, then no, it's not typical that I would write a report.
All right. And did you type up what medications were found? Was that you or someone else who had typed up the medication list?
No, my involvement with the medication would be this log that you've given me.
So that's it. You were there for an hour and a half, and during the time you were there, well, about an hour and a half, you logged the 3 medications.
Correct.
And you only looked in the bathroom. You didn't look in the kitchen, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't look in the drawers in the bedroom?
No.
And you didn't look anywhere else in the house for medications?
Correct.
And you didn't ask Ms. Richins where medications for Mr. Richins would be located?
I believe I did ask her.
Well, you didn't ask her where the THC was located?
No, I did not.
All right. One moment. You mentioned that you were also in charge of scene security. What did you do in terms of security that night?
I secured the rooms in which Mr. Richins was found.
How did you secure that room?
I just stayed by the door to make sure that no one was getting in.
That was the entirety of the security at the scene?
Well, that particular area, yes, there were some children in the house that were trying to get in, so my job was to make sure they didn't get into the room.
Did the children, they did try to get into the room?
Yes.
Was Ms. Richins with them?
No.
All right. And you said you're with K-9? You're with the K-9 unit, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And as part of your duties to the K-9 unit, you search for illicit drugs on scenes?
It
Fair.
depends, but yes, I have done that in the past, yes.
Well, I mean, the point of a K-9 dog, isn't it a drug-sniffing dog?
The point of mine, yes. Yes.
All right. So you're familiar with searching for drugs on the scene?
Correct.
So is it fair to say that the search you did that day was not a complete search for drugs at that scene, correct?
Correct. I was not searching for drugs at that time.
Okay. So you were logging medication, but you weren't searching for medications?
That is, I was logging medication, but I was not searching for illegal narcotics.
When you weren't searching for medications either, right? Other than what was in the bathroom?
Other than what was made known to me, yes.
All right. I have nothing further.
Ms. Shervinack, any further questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Deputy Pimentel, are you issued a body camera as part of your equipment?
Yes, I am.
Were you wearing a body camera on the night of March 4th, 2022?
Yes, I am.
When you prepared your report for this case, even though it was some time later, did you review your body camera to refresh your memory about what took place?
Yes, I did.
If we could please show the witness 1-28D. Do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is my body cam footage.
Is it a, can you tell how long it is by looking at that?
How long
The clip that you're looking at, does it have a time on it? I don't see it.
it does not, what I can see does not have a time. Okay, now it does.
How long is that clip?
That looks a little bit over, so about a minute and 53 seconds.
Okay, I'm going to move to admit 1-28D.
Ms. Lewis.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
Any objection to admission of states 1-28D?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, 128D is admitted. Is there sound for this one, Scott?
There should be.
Yes, Your Honor, I just had it muted for.
Oh, my apologies.
showing it.
Okay, let me publish. Go ahead, sir.
So describe for the jury what we're looking at here on your body camera.
So this is the cabinet that was above the toilet that I was mentioning earlier that was on the right side as you walk into the bathroom.
And this is the bathroom attached to the master bedroom.
Correct. This is the bathroom that I had mentioned earlier.
Are you opening the cabinet? It's kind of hard to see. We only have the bottom.
Yes.
And what are you looking for?
So again, I'm looking for medication that is prescribed to Mr. Richins.
And that was the counter you were talking about in the
That's
drawer.
correct.
And so you testified that you're looking for medications of Mr. Richins, and you're not doing a full, complete search of this house, are you?
No, I'm not.
And that's because you don't have probable cause to do so.
I don't have a reason to search anywhere else in the house that I
Right.
searched.
And to do a complete search of a house, you need probable cause or a warrant, right?
Correct.
Just a second. You're looking in that cupboard above the toilet. There were no THC gummies in there, were there?
Not that I could see, no.
And you opened it up and you looked inside.
Correct.
You didn't see any weed gummies in there.
I did not.
Ms. Lewis, anything within the scope of redirect?
Can you pull up State's Exhibit 1-8 just for the. Sure.
Let me know when you want the witness to see it. You'll see it at the same time as the witness, Ms. Lewis. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. You and the witness can see it.
Yep. I have to go back over here, I'm sorry. Okay. So in the body cam that we just saw, which is on your left, you're looking at a pill bottle, correct?
Correct.
And you took a photograph of that bottle?
I do not recall if I took a photograph of that bottle.
So the photograph on the right, is that the same bottle?
I believe so.
All right, we'd move to admit 1-8.
No objection.
Okay. State's Exhibit 1-8 is admitted, and anything further on that, Ms. Lewis?
That's the hydrocodone bottle, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, you said we saw in the video, you were looking at the cupboard above the toilet.
Correct.
Did you look on top of that cupboard?
I do not recall if I did.
Well, that's a very high cupboard, correct?
Correct. I believe so.
So you wouldn't be able to see the top of the cupboard unless you got up on the toilet, true?
Probably.
All right. And are you aware that later that is where all the THC gummies were located?
I wasn't made aware of that, no.
All right. So when you were looking for the gummies, well, you were looking for medications. I know you weren't specifically looking for the gummies. But in your experience, do people usually keep illegal drugs just right in their bathroom cupboard, or do they often put them somewhere out of sight?
It depends.
They often put them somewhere out of sight. True?
I mean, they can, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But you didn't look at the whole cupboard. True?
I just looked where there might be medication.
But not on top of the cupboard.
To my knowledge, I don't believe I looked on top of the cupboard.
All right. And did you photograph that before you started taking things and moving them around the cupboard to document it?
No, I did not.
Let me ask you one other thing about when you secured the bedroom. Who came in and out of that bedroom when you were securing the bedroom?
There were some other deputies and possibly some medical personnel.
Anybody else at all?
I I do not recall if anyone else came into the bedroom.
All right. I have nothing further.
Anything further?
No, yeah.
Deputy, you can step down. Thank you. You might have taken that glass of water with you. Thank you, sir.